Dolly friends, I hope you're all well. I thought I'd do something a little bit different this time. So my spouse got me an advent calendar this year, which was really sweet of them, and it's the 5 surprise toy mini brands. And it kind of got me thinking of like how I wanted to open it and what I wanted to do with it. So I thought that I would make a little diorama, and then every day I can have a new little toy to put in it. So I'm starting with this floor. This is a floor I made earlier for previous dioramas. I've actually used it in multiple little Blythe rooms and dioramas in the past. Put it with different walls and wallpapers and themes, and I find it tends to work quite well. So it's actually made from wooden lollipop sticks that I then cut the end off. A lot of wooden lollipop sticks that I cut the ends off. And then I glued them all down to a piece of wood in a kind of deliberately slightly wonky hodgepodge manner because I wanted to look quite realistic. And then I stained it with wood stain. So this is my floor. Like I said, it's been in a few dioramas. I just changed the walls and it's been really convenient just to have this piece of work already done. I did add some edging to it to help it sit a bit more flush against the walls. I just got that off Etsy and wood glued it on. So I thought I would make this diorama for Middie Blythe. Specifically, this is Wish. She is a Middie Blythe Mellow Mellow Mew and Little Lily Brown hybrid. So for this particular diorama, I'm just going to use foam board in A3 size. Normally, if I'm making a full-size Blythe diorama, I need to use bigger pieces of foam board for the walls. But because Middie is quite a lot shorter, I can get away with just getting A3, which was much easier to find. I could just go and get it from a stationery shop in town. And the way I like to do my dioramas is just with 2 walls on 2 sides. And then I've got a bit more space on the other side for lighting and to put the camera in without my shadows being too heavy. So I'm just using 2 pieces of foam board for this one. So I'm just starting by scoring a line down the wall that's going to be on the shortest edge. I'm not cutting all the way through the foam board. And I'm just using that line to gently bend it and give it a nice sharp corner. And now I'm just using this little corner I've created to glue to the back of my other wall so that both of my walls will be nice and sturdy and glued together. And here you can see where I had some trouble with my glue, wouldn't come out the pot, and it all went a bit weird and stringy. I think I didn't put the lid back on properly last time I used it. So I had a bit of a glue disaster here, but we persevere anyway, right? And then I can finally glue my second wall onto this little corner I made. And that's our 2 walls. So while my walls are drying, which is going to take a long time because of all that glue, I'm just going to crack on with making some furniture for the inside. I got this little box from the works for £1.50. I love these. I must have bought a dozen of them over the years. They're just great for dolly size stuff. And I think the scale on this one will make it a really nice toy box for Wish and her little room. So I'm just starting by quickly sanding it down so it's ready to be painted. And I'm just going to paint it with some acrylics. These are just cheap acrylics that I got from the works, along with some very cheap brushes. I'm sure those of you who are better artists than me probably have much better quality supplies, but this does the job. So I decided to go with kind of like a mint greeny bluey colour, just because I really like pastel colours and I think they really suit Wish, and I love pastel Christmas stuff, as you can probably tell by my horrendously tacky Christmas tree in the background. As you can probably see, I don't have the greatest art skills in the world. I'm quite a clumsy person, actually. And I have no idea what the good painting techniques are. So it's not going to be perfect. But we're not aiming for perfect, we're aiming for having fun. And while I wait for the toy box to dry, I've got a couple more of my trusty lollipop sticks, which again, I've cut the rounded ends off and I'm just painting them brown with some of my acrylic paints in a similar shade to my floorboards. Once my paint's dry, I'm just dabbing on some little bits of glue and sticking on some hooks. These are just from like my hook and eye pot from my sewing box. I just find they work really well for making little dolly-sized wall hooks. My wall is finally dry. I'm just removing the pegs. I use clothes pegs to keep it still and make sure it doesn't slide off while the glue's drying. The pegs have left a couple of dents in the foam board, but you won't see that once I've papered it over the top anyway. And now it's time to paper my walls. I'm just going to double check my measurements before I cut my paper, just in case. So for wallpaper, I'm actually using wrapping paper from Paper Chase. I quite liked the pattern on this one. I thought it was like a cute little floral that could pass for dolly size wallpaper. It's not quite as matte as if you bought proper doll's house wallpaper, but honestly, I didn't want to spend that much on this. For me, this is just a sort of cheap and cheerful, fun little project that I'm not taking too seriously. And now I'm just going to glue my paper onto my wall in one big long piece. And after my little disaster with the PVA glue last time, I'm just using a Pritt stick. Don't judge me. I did find it a lot harder to get this glued down without having lots of bubbles in it, working with a piece of paper this size. But I did manage to smooth most of the bubbles out. Not all of them. And then we're finally ready to put together our little diorama. Once the walls are up, I'm just adding a little pink Christmas tree that I got from the pound shop. You know I love a pink Christmas. Our little toy box that I painted earlier. The shelves from the IKEA Who's It doll set. I think everybody that collects dolls owns this set of shelves. And this little chair from Cute Small World on Etsy. It's probably my favourite Blythe chair. I use it all the time and it fits both Neo and Middie. And lastly, I'm just going to glue in the little hooks that I made earlier. I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to make a little stocking to hang on these, or see if some of the toys will hang on them. I guess we'll just wait and see. So overall, I'm actually quite happy with how it turned out. It's very simple, but the point of it is to show off all the little accessories that I get in my calendar, not for it to look finished right now. It's not perfect, like we knew it wouldn't be. It's got lots of wobbles at the top. It's got air bubbles in the paper. It's a little bit wonky, but I really enjoyed making it anyway. And it's a cute little dolly room for Wish to hang out in all month long. I like having it out in my living room, and I think I'm going to really enjoy adding little bits and pieces to it as we go along. Kind of adding to it throughout the month of December.